May the angels wrap you in their warmth right now, wherever you are, whatever you are going through. You are seen, you are loved, and you were guided here for a reason. Welcome to Angel's Message for You, a sacred space created just for you, where heaven speaks directly to your heart, and where every word that reaches you carries a purpose far greater than you might yet understand. Before you go any further, I need you to pause for just a moment. Take a breath, a real one. Let your shoulders drop. Let your chest open, because what you are about to hear did not find you by accident. This message was meant to reach you today, at this exact moment, in this exact season of your life. And if you stay with me until the very end, something inside you is going to shift. Not because of anything dramatic, but because truth has a way of landing softly and changing everything all at once. Stay with me. This is for you. There is something happening right now that your heart already senses, even if your mind has not fully caught up with it yet. Something is moving in the spiritual realm, a shift, a turning, a decision being made, and it is all connected to you. Connected to a love that never really left. Connected to a bond that survived everything that tried to break it. And it is making its way toward you right now, step by step, piece by piece, with a kind of intention that only comes when a soul has finally stopped fighting the truth it has always known. This is not just a message of comfort. This is a message of revelation. And it is going to take you somewhere real. Let us begin. There is a person, someone your heart has never truly let go of, no matter how much time has passed, no matter what has happened between you, no matter how many times you told yourself to move on. And they are moving, not just physically. They are moving emotionally, spiritually, and with a kind of deep, quiet purpose that changes the direction of a life. This is not a small shift. This is not a passing feeling. This is a decision rooted in the soul. And the destination they are walking toward has everything to do with you. You may have been feeling it lately, something a little hard to explain. A pull in your chest at unexpected moments. Certain memories drifting back to you more clearly than they have in a while. A quiet restlessness, not the anxious kind, but the kind that feels like anticipation. Like something is about to happen and your soul is already preparing. Like standing in the last quiet moment before something beautiful arrives. That is not your imagination. That is your spirit responding to a movement already set in motion. The angels want you to understand that what you are feeling is real. It is information. It is your heart recognizing, even from a distance, that something is changing. So let me tell you what the angels see. Your person, the one your heart keeps returning to no matter how many distractions fill the days, no matter how much time passes between thoughts of them, received something rare. Not a message delivered in words. Not advice from a friend or a sign they went looking for. Something that dropped directly into the soul. A deep, unshakable knowing that arrived in the quiet and said, with a clarity that left no room for argument, the place I truly belong is with this person. And when that kind of knowing comes, it changes everything. It does not arrive gently and ask for your cooperation. It arrives like the first light of dawn, quietly, inevitably, making everything clearer whether you are ready for it or not. And once it is there, once that truth has made itself known in the deepest part of a person's being, there is no going back to pretending it is not real. That is where your person is right now. On the other side of that knowing, standing at the edge of a decision that has been building for a long time, feeling the weight of it and the freedom of it at the same time. Because when you finally let yourself be honest about what you want, truly want, not the safe version, not the comfortable version, but the real one, there is both terror and relief in equal measure. And they are choosing. Right now, they are choosing. This decision did not come without pain. The angels want you to know that. There were battles fought quietly in the dark. There were nights of doubt and days of trying to pretend the feelings were not as strong as they were. There were moments of almost walking away from the truth, almost convincing themselves that something easier would be enough. And there were sacrifices, letting go of things, letting go of people, letting go of versions of a life that felt familiar but never truly felt like home. Because here is the thing about a soul that knows its truth. Cannot settle, can be delayed, can be distracted. It can wander down side roads for longer than anyone expected. But it cannot settle. It will always, eventually, find its way back to what is real. And what is real for this person is you. Not out of loneliness. Not because they ran out of options or got tired of looking. But because after all of it, after all the time and the distance and the wrong turns, they looked honestly at themselves and saw clearly. The one I keep coming back to in my heart, the one I measure everything else against, the one whose presence I still carry in the quiet moments. That is the person I want. That is where I belong. That is the decision being made. And now heaven is asking you a question. Are you ready to receive it? Let's talk about your part in all of this, because this is not a story where everything just happens to you while you wait. You are not a passive figure in this narrative. You are essential to it. And the angels want to speak honestly to you about what is being asked of you right now. Think about your heart for a moment. Not the version you show the world. The real one. The one that still holds the memory of old wounds. The one that has learned, through experience, to brace itself for disappointment. The one that opens slowly now, carefully, because it has been hurt enough times to know that hoping is a kind of risk. That heart, your real heart, is the home that is being chosen. And the question heaven is asking is this: what will your person find when they arrive? Because here is the truth. Love cannot live in a space that is still too crowded with the past. Not because love is weak, but because love is alive. And living things need room to breathe. They need light. They need to feel welcome, not just tolerated. And if the space inside you is still full of old resentments, still guarded by walls built from old hurt, still waiting for someone to prove themselves before you let them in, then even the most genuine love will have a hard time finding a place to rest. This is not a criticism. This is a loving invitation. Heaven is not telling you that you are broken or unprepared. Heaven is saying, you are so close. You have come so far. Now take this last step. Make space. Prepare the home. And here is the beautiful thing. You already have everything it takes. The angels see you. They have been watching your journey with such tenderness. Every quiet moment you spent trying to heal. Every morning you chose to get up and keep going even when you were exhausted. Every time you forgave someone, including yourself, even when it was hard. Every prayer you sent up in the dark, not even knowing if anyone was listening. Every moment you kept that small flame of hope alive in your chest, even when everything around you seemed to argue against it. All of it has been heard. All of it has been held. All of it has been building something inside of you that is extraordinary, even if it does not always feel that way from where you are standing. You have been growing in ways that might not be obvious when you look in the mirror, in ways that show not in how you look but in how you respond to things now compared to how you once did. The situations that used to send you into a spiral have started to feel more manageable. The words that once would have devastated you are starting to land differently. The need for approval that used to drive so many of your choices is loosening its grip. That is not a small thing. That is transformation. That is you becoming someone who can receive what you are asking for without self-sabotaging it. And heaven has been watching that happen. and it has been guiding the timing accordingly. Because divine timing is not about God making you wait for no reason. It is about things being arranged so that when the gift arrives, you are ready to keep it. You are ready to tend it. You are ready to let it be as real and as lasting as it was always meant to be. That readiness is nearly complete, and the person coming toward you is meeting it with their own. Let's go deeper, because there is something else the angels want you to understand about this connection. There is an invisible thread that exists between two souls when love is genuinely real. It is not something that can be seen or measured or explained in ordinary terms, but it can be felt. You have felt it in the moments when they cross your mind completely unprovoked. In the way a certain song can carry you back to a feeling you have not consciously visited in years. In that quiet knowing that no matter what has happened, no matter how much time has passed, something between you has never fully closed. That thread has never been cut. It has stretched across time and distance and silence and misunderstanding, but it has held. Because what it is made of cannot be undone by circumstances. It is made of something older and deeper than anything that happens on the surface of a life. Your person has been feeling it too, in the small, unguarded moments, when they are driving somewhere and the silence opens up. When they wake up in the early morning before the day has started and their thoughts go quiet enough to hear what is actually true. When they look at their life honestly and measure it against what their soul is asking for and find that the gap between the two is no longer bearable. That gap between the life they have been living and the life their soul is calling them toward has been closing. And what stands on the other side of that gap, what the soul keeps pointing to, is you. This is not wishful thinking. This is not projection. This is the angels showing you what they can see from where they stand, which is above the noise and the fear and the ordinary logic that keeps so many people from living the love that is truly meant for them. Your person is moving, letting go of what no longer fits, doing the quiet, internal work of clearing out what needs to go so there is room for what matters. Every day that passes, they are getting lighter. Every choice being made is bringing them closer to the truth they can no longer deny. And that truth is, home is where you are. Now, the angels want to speak to something tender, something that some of you might be carrying quietly, because not everyone listening to this message has had an easy time holding on to hope. Some of you have been through things that made hope feel dangerous. You opened yourself up before and what came in left damage behind. You rebuilt yourself from the ground up, sometimes more than once. And because of that, there is a part of you, maybe just a whisper, maybe something louder, that wants to protect you from getting hurt again. That voice is not your enemy. It came from real experience and it has kept you safe in times when you needed protection. But it is not the whole truth of who you are. And it does not get to be the only voice in the room, because that same soul that learned to protect itself is also the soul that never fully gave up, that kept one small room in the heart unlocked, even when everything else was guarded, that still allowed itself to feel, still allowed itself to hope, still sent up prayers in the quiet and meant every word. That is the part of you heaven is speaking to right now. That tender, persistent, quietly courageous part that refused to stop believing even when believing was the harder choice. The angels want you to know it was not naive. It was not foolish. It was faithful. And that faithfulness is exactly what made this message possible. Heaven does not send revelations like this to hearts that have completely closed. It sends them to hearts that have been tested but not broken. Hearts that are ready even if they do not yet fully know it. So let the part of you that has been carrying this love, quietly and carefully, finally take a full breath. It did not carry it for nothing. The time it spent holding that space was not wasted. Every quiet, faithful day of hope was heard. Every sincere prayer added its light to the path being prepared. And now that path is here. Let's talk about preparation, because this is where things get beautifully practical. Heaven is doing its work. The spiritual ground is being prepared. The circumstances are being arranged. But there is an inner preparation that belongs to you, and the angels want to walk you through it gently. Think about your inner home, the space inside you where your feelings live, where your decisions take root, where love will be welcomed when it arrives. What is in that space right now? And we are not asking you to judge what you find. We are asking you to see it clearly and with compassion, because what you can see clearly, you can choose to change. Are there old resentments still living there? Not necessarily toward this person specifically, but toward love in general. A kind of low-level expectation that things will eventually go wrong, that the good things do not stay, that you will be left again eventually. Those beliefs feel like they are protecting you, but they are actually just taking up space that belongs to something better. Are there wounds from the past that have not yet been given what they need to heal? Not because you have not tried, but because healing is not always linear, and sometimes old hurts ask to be visited more than once before they are truly done. This is not failure. This is the process. And the willingness to stay in it, to keep showing up for your own healing with honesty and patience, is one of the most loving things you can do, for yourself and for the love that is coming. Are there stories you have been telling yourself about what you deserve? About whether someone like you can really have something like this? About whether the love you want is actually possible for you, in your real life with your real history? Because those stories matter enormously. They set the frequency of what you are able to receive. And if those stories say love is temporary, love is painful, love never really works out, then even a genuine, beautiful, heaven-sent love will struggle to take root in that soil. The angels are asking you, gently but clearly, it is time to update the story. Not because nothing ever went wrong, not because the past did not happen, but because the past does not have to write the future. You are not the same person who experienced those disappointments. And this love is not the same as the ones that hurt you. You are allowed to let this be different. You are allowed to choose to believe that different is possible. That choice, the choice to believe, is itself a form of preparation. It is making room. It is saying yes to what is coming before it has fully arrived. And when heaven sees that yes in you, it moves. There is also something important to understand about what is being asked of you when this person arrives. Because love, real love, is not a feeling you receive passively. It is something you actively participate in. It is built day by day, choice by choice, in the ordinary moments that add up to a life. This person is not coming to perform love for you from a safe distance. They are coming to be part of your actual life. To sit with you in the difficult moments as well as the beautiful ones. To learn you, not the version of you that only comes out when everything is going well, but the full, complicated, wonderfully imperfect human being that you are. And they are willing to do that because something in them recognizes something in you that is worth showing up for every single day. But they need to find a heart that is showing up too. Not a perfect heart. Not a fully healed heart, just a present one, an honest one, one that is willing to try, willing to communicate, willing to say, I am afraid sometimes, and stay anyway. You have more of that than you realize, because here is what the angels see when they look at you. They see someone who has been through enough to know that real love is not effortless. Someone who understands, in a way that only lived experience can teach, that the things worth having require something of you. Someone who has stopped looking for love to be easy and started looking for it to be true. That is not a small thing. That is wisdom. That is the kind of maturity that makes a love last. And your person, the one who is finding their way toward you right now, needs exactly that. Not perfection, not a flawless love story from the beginning. Just someone who will meet them with the same honesty, the same willingness, the same quiet courage that they are bringing with them. You are that someone. Now let us talk about the signs. Because the angels want you to know how to recognize what is already being placed in your path. As you move through the coming days, you will begin to notice things. Moments that feel a little too perfectly timed to be random. A word you see or hear that lands in your chest in a way that feels personal. A thought that arrives out of nowhere and feels less like something you generated and more like something you received. A feeling of warmth that settles over you unexpectedly. As if for just a moment you are being reminded that you are not alone. These are not coincidences. These are confirmations. Heaven communicates in exactly this kind of quiet, personal, undeniable language. And the more present you become, the more you practice being here in this moment, paying attention, the more clearly you will be able to read what is being written for you. There will also be moments of internal clarity. Times when something that has been foggy for a long time suddenly comes into focus. Decisions you have been going back and forth on that unexpectedly become clear. Old emotional patterns that you suddenly see with new eyes, not with judgment but with understanding. These are gifts. They are the spiritual preparation doing its work in real time, making you lighter, clearer, more aligned with the love that is on its way. Pay attention to what is happening inside you, not with anxiety or hypervigilance, but with a gentle, curious attentiveness. Your own inner life is one of the primary places where heaven speaks. And right now, it has a lot to say to you. And when this person arrives, not if, but when, the angels want you to be ready for something that might surprise you. You might expect it to feel like a grand dramatic moment, like something out of a story, and there may be moments of that. But real love, deep love, the kind that actually lasts, it often announces itself more quietly than that, in a feeling of ease, in the way a conversation flows without effort, in the sense that something you have been carrying for a long time has finally quietly been set down. Your eyes will meet and something ancient in you will recognize something ancient in them. Not as a stranger, not even as someone returning, but as the person who was never really gone, who was always there in the background of your heart, who has simply finally found the way back into the room. That recognition will not need to be announced. It will simply be known. And in that knowing, a whole new chapter begins. The angels want to close this message with something they need you to carry with you. Not just today, but on the days when things are hard. On the days when fear tries to creep back in. On the days when old doubts whisper that this is too good to be true. You were not brought this far to be abandoned. The soul that kept hope alive through every disappointment, every lonely night, every moment of wondering if love was really meant for you. That soul was being preserved for something. This love, this person, this chapter that is now finally beginning. Heaven does not move the way it is moving right now for no reason. When the spiritual realm begins to arrange things with this kind of intention and precision, it is because something real is being built. Something lasting. Something worth every bit of the waiting and the learning and the growing that brought you here. You are the home that is being chosen. You are the destination at the end of a long journey toward truth. You are the reason someone found the courage to stop pretending and start living. And the love that is finding its way to you right now is not small. It is not fragile. It is not temporary. It is the kind that knows what it is and where it belongs and is no longer willing to be anywhere else. Receive that. Let it be real. Let it land in the deepest part of you and stay there. Because it is yours. It has always been yours. And it is coming home. Stay open. Stay present. Stay ready. And trust what the angels are telling you today. You are never walking this road alone. The angels are beside you in every moment. In the quiet mornings. In the difficult evenings. In every space between where you are and where you are going. They are sending you strength and peace and the kind of unshakable knowing that makes it possible to keep your heart open even when the world has given you reasons to close it. You are loved beyond measure. You are guided by something greater than fear. And what is meant for you is making its way to you right now with every breath you take. May heaven's blessing rest on you today and in every day that follows. May peace find you wherever you are. May courage rise in you when you need it most. May love arrive for you in its perfect time and find you exactly as ready as you truly are. With infinite love, always your guardian angels. And there is still more that heaven wants to say to you today. Because this message is not finished yet. Stay with it a little longer. Because some of you listening to this are at a crossroads right now that you may not have fully named yet. You are standing in a place where the old way of doing things, the guarded way, the self-protective way, the way where you keep love at a slight distance just in case it leaves, no longer feels right. But the new way, the open way, the way where you let yourself actually be fully seen and fully vulnerable, still feels terrifying. And the angels want to sit with you in that crossroads for a moment. Because this is one of the most sacred places a person can be. It means you are done with the old but not yet fully settled in the new. It means you are in transition. And transition, even when it is towards something beautiful, can feel deeply uncomfortable. That discomfort is not a sign that something is wrong. It is a sign that you are growing. That you are shedding a skin that protected you for a long time but that you have genuinely outgrown. And the person who emerges on the other side of this transition, lighter, more honest, more open, more themselves, is exactly the person who is ready for what is coming. So if you have been feeling a little off lately, a little in between, a little like the old stories do not fit but the new ones are not fully written yet, that is okay. That is exactly where you are supposed to be. And you do not have to have it all figured out before love arrives. You just have to be honest about where you are. Honesty is the foundation. Everything else gets built on top of it. And speaking of foundations, the angels want to talk to you about something that does not always get discussed in conversations about love, but that matters enormously. It is the foundation you are building inside yourself right now, before anyone else enters the picture. When a new chapter of love begins, what it rests on is not the chemistry between two people, although that matters. It is not the history between two people, although that shapes things. It is not even the feelings between two people, although those are real and powerful. What it truly rests on is the inner foundation of each individual. The groundedness, the self-respect, the ability to be present without disappearing into the other person. The capacity to love without losing yourself in the process. That foundation is what makes love sustainable. It is what allows it to weather the ordinary difficulties that every relationship eventually faces. The miscommunications, the days when feelings are not perfectly aligned, the seasons where life brings its weight and love has to hold steady underneath it. And you have been building that foundation through everything you have been through the healing work you have done, whether or not you have always had words for it, through the moments of self-reflection, the honest conversations with yourself in the quiet, the choices you made to treat yourself with more care even when it felt unfamiliar. You are more ready than you think. The angels want to tell you something about how this love will feel different from what came before. Not because the person is somehow magical or because the circumstances will be perfect. but because you are different. You have learned things that will make you show up differently this time. You have earned a kind of self-knowledge that will allow you to recognize what is real and to choose it clearly, not because you have no other options, but because you understand your own value. When someone knows their own value, really knows it, not in a defensive way but in a quiet, settled way, they attract love that reflects that back to them. They stop accepting less than what is real because they simply cannot imagine settling anymore. They stop chasing people who are not sure about them because they understand that genuine love does not require you to audition. You have been getting there, and now you are close. The person coming toward you is not going to make you prove yourself. They are not going to keep you guessing about where you stand. They are coming with clarity, with intention, with a love that has been tested by time and absence and has come out the other side more certain than ever. They know what they want. They have done their own version of the work you have been doing, and they are ready to meet you at the level you have been growing toward. That is what makes this different. That is what makes this the love the angels have been telling you about. Now, the angels want to speak to the part of you that sometimes gets tired, because carrying hope over a long period of time is genuinely exhausting. It requires something of you every day. Some days it comes easily, you feel the connection, you feel the certainty, you feel like you just know. And other days it is harder. The doubt creeps in. The waiting feels heavy. You wonder if you have been fooling yourself, if the signs you have been reading were just wishful thinking, if the love you have been holding space for is ever actually going to arrive in a real and tangible form. On those days, the angels want you to do just one thing. Come back to this moment. Come back to your breath. Come back to the quiet place inside you that existed before the fear showed up. Because in that quiet place, if you stay long enough, you can still feel it. That persistent, unshakable knowing. That warmth that has been there all along. That part of you that never fully stopped believing, even on the hardest days. That is where your truth lives. And that truth has not changed. The doubt is not the truth. The fear is not the truth. The tired, worn-out voice that says maybe this is not real, that is not the truth either. The truth is the quiet warmth. The truth is the knowing. The truth is the love that has been living in your heart, patient and present, waiting for the right moment to become something you can hold in your hands. That moment is coming. The angels stake their presence on it. And in the meantime, in this beautiful, sacred in-between, the angels want you to tend to yourself. Not as preparation for someone else's arrival, though that is part of it, but because you deserve to be tended to. You deserve to wake up each morning and do something that brings you joy. You deserve to feed your spirit with things that make you feel alive. You deserve to surround yourself with people who reflect your goodness back to you. You deserve rest. You deserve gentleness. You deserve every good thing, not as a reward for getting things right, but simply because you are here, alive, doing your best, and that is enough. Love yourself the way you want to be loved. Not because it is a technique. Not because it will speed anything along. But because it is true and right and you have earned it. When you begin to treat yourself with that level of genuine care, something interesting happens. The energy around you shifts. The frequency you carry changes. And the things that are aligned with that higher frequency, including the love being guided toward you, find it easier to arrive. This is not magic. This is just the way spiritual things work. Like calls to like. Openness invites openness. Care invites care. Love invites love. So take care of yourself. Not perfectly. Not without the hard days, but consistently, honestly, with the same compassion you would give to someone you deeply loved. Because you are someone you deeply love, or you are becoming that person. and every step in that direction makes room for more. The angels also want to say something about faith, because faith is what has held everything together through all of this. Not certainty. Certainty is easy when everything is clear. Faith is what you hold on to when things are not clear, when the path forward is obscured, when the evidence seems mixed, when you cannot see where you are going but something inside you keeps saying keep walking. That is what you have been doing. Keeping walking, keeping believing, keeping that flame lit through every wind that tried to extinguish it. And heaven has seen every single moment of that faith. Every morning you chose to try again. Every time you decided that love was still worth believing in despite everything. Every quiet prayer offered from a tired heart that was still showing up, still reaching towards something greater. That faith moved things in ways you may never fully be able to trace. Your faithfulness has been quietly rearranging the circumstances, softening what needed to soften, clearing what needed to clear, opening what needed to be opened. Your faith did not just keep you going, it actively participated in creating the path you are now standing on. And now that path is leading somewhere extraordinary. The angels want to leave you with a picture, not a dramatic one, something simple and true. Imagine a morning a few weeks or months from now. You wake up and the first thing you feel is not the familiar ache of longing. It is something else. Warmth, presence, a quiet settledness that feels completely new and somehow also like coming home. The restlessness that has been following you for so long is simply gone. Not because everything is perfect, but because something essential has clicked into place. That morning is not a fantasy. It is a destination, and the path to it is exactly what you are walking right now. Every honest moment, every choice to heal, every prayer, every day you held on to hope when holding on was hard. All of it is the road to that morning. You are closer than you have ever been. So from this moment forward, carry this with you. Not as pressure, not as something you need to force or hurry. Carry it the way you carry a quiet certainty. Lightly, without strain,